How's it going, everyone? Uh, Jesse Slamorella here, and as you can see, things are probably going to be a little bit different in this Jesse Talks Metal episode, number 10, the big 1-0. Thanks for sticking around and checking them all out. If you haven't, I've got 9 more episodes before this one you should probably take a look at and have fun with. This is the differences between slam, brutal death metal, and deathcore. This has been a long time coming now, and there's a lot of people still that do not know the difference between these 3 genres. There's a lot of people that don't even know, now bear with me when I say this, that slam even exists, or what it is as a genre. I covered it a teeny bit in my genres episode, but not too much. Anyways, slam normally has indecipherable gutturals, grunts, gurgles, noises, just kind of really odd vocal things in the song. And they're more used as another instrument as opposed to like actually singing. So if anyone's like, oh, I can't understand the vocals, how do you know what they're saying? Blah, blah, blah. Well, there's the lyric booklet if they included one, and I'm sure you can just Google it. Type in the name of the song, type in the name of the band, type in lyrics, and you probably should find it. Now, music-wise, besides the vocals, it's slow, medium, and quick-paced chugs, power chord, sometimes just one bar, kind of 3 strings power chord, not like the rock and roll power chords where it's like, but chugs up and down the fretboard, usually between the 1st and 5th fret. Any higher kind of gets a little happy in sounding. That's usually what they do. Occasionally, they will contain MIDI bass drops throughout the song, or movies, clips, and stuff like that. The guitars are usually tuned anywhere from drop B, drop G, A, drop A, and stuff like that. Even, I think A or B standard sometimes. But normally in that kind of range, you don't normally see slam bands in drop C or regular E or drop D tuning. They're normally kind of low to really utilize the kind of gutturals that they do and stuff like that. Usually either 6 or 7 string. Most of the time, probably 7 string. I'm going to assume that they use guitar-wise, just to sufficiently utilize the low strings and the thick strings for the down-tune stuff. It's not usually very technical type of riffs. They're usually primal and sludgy and just slamming something like doom doom slam 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 slam. That's kind of where the name of the genre got its name. And for example, I've brought my guitar with me, and I will play you a slam or 2 type riffs. That's kind of a more upbeat, kind of a bouncy slam kind of tune. You might hear something like that in slam core, being a cranius or guttural slug. The typical slams are just 1 fret in succession type slams, like so. And just kind of that slow, kind of crunchy sound to them, and that's, obvious with different variables and different variations and tricks and whatnot. You might even hear the odd, like, squeal thrown in there. I'm not really performing it quite well, but you get the idea. And that's basically what slam by itself is. Now, next is brutal death metal. Basically, that's just death metal taken to the nth degree. And it's pretty much the same way vocalized as slam. Maybe not as kind of crazy gurgles and noises, but there's basically indecipherable gutturals. There's really low growls, and whatnot. Once again, not performing at the best, but just to kind of give an example of what you're going to hear, they might even have breeze, that kind of thing. But besides the point of vocals, they're usually, the riffs themselves are actually very fast riffs, or tremolos. Any part of the fretboard can really be utilized for this, because they don't really care about like having high sounding riffs or low sounding riffs. It's just normally really fast. I can't really do too much of a great example of brutal death metal style, but I will try to give it my best little shot here, just kind of give you an idea of what you might hear. And just kind of really fast and a lot more technical than what I just did, but just things like that, tremolo picking, maybe some fast slams like. And just kind of like that really quick paced chugging type of deal. You're going to have a lot of blast beats, you're going to have a lot of double kicks in there, and it might even at some point, if you're not a very fine-tuned listener, seem just very chaotic and like it's just noise. But that's the difference between slam and brutal death metal. And you kind of get the idea. It's once you kind of notice the different riffage and the different kind of paces and stuff like that, you can kind of see the difference between slam and brutal death metal. Now for deathcore. Deathcore seems to be a little bit more popular and a little bit more mainstream, and more people kind of just see it as screamed vocals, some growls, high raspy growls or breeze, and the lyrical content normally more involves feelings rather than gore or like spacey kind of fantastical alien themes. There might be even some spoken word parts or the odd clean sung vocals in it. They might contain some movie clips or things of that nature. You're going to hear a lot more melodies. You're going to hear some kind of string skipping metalcore riffs. If you don't know what I mean, and just things like. And stuff like that. And just kind of that kind of thing, just very jumpy and bouncy, and using a lot of the top string there. I'm muting it there. As kind of like a background basis for the rhythm, and then kind of jumping down. I don't know if you can fucking see it or not, but like, and then jumping down to the next strings to kind of add the melody. And yeah, kind of not In Flames. What am I thinking of? What is that damn band? The guy that's from the Austrian Death Machine. Fuck! There's a band that sounds exactly like that kind of riffage, but I can't think of it right now. I'm sure I'll think of it later and be like, fuck me. But then you'll also have breakdowns, and a lot of people consider slams a breakdown type of riff, but when you hear the deathcore type of breakdowns, it's normally like an open note or the first fret kind of. Kind of stuff like that, just very slow, kind of open note, first fret, second fret kind of thing, where it literally sounds like the song is falling apart. Hence the term breakdown. The song is breaking down. And yeah, that's the musical differences between the three. Hopefully you get the idea now. There's a huge, not huge, but like a pretty big difference between what the fans and the bands look like when it comes to like the fashion sense and how they dress and their hair and whatnot. And I'm not really going to get into that because I don't really care what people wear. You can wear whatever the fuck you like and listen to a whole kind of different music, all kinds of different music. It just doesn't really matter. I'm just right now trying to show you musically what the difference is and what you can hear. So that's that. If you have any more questions, definitely hit me up in the comment section or check me out at Jesse Talks Metal on Facebook. And yeah, I'll be willing to explain or talk to you about this kind of thing. Try not to bring up the whole fashion sense of deathcore or whether you think it sucks or it's good. Try to talk to me more on a mature, unbiased level when it comes to maybe the explanations of what the difference are between the three: slam, brutal death metal, and deathcore. Otherwise, I'm not really going to respond in general. Like if you're saying something like, oh, deathcore is for fags or posers and slam's the real thing, or brutal death metal is like the only way to go, and then I'm probably not going to respond, or I will just delete the comment because I'm not really into that kind of grade 3 analytical, if I don't like it, it sucks kind of mentality. So anyways, yeah, that's basically the difference of slam and brutal death metal and deathcore. Just chuggy things for slam, just and then really fast kind of things for brutal death metal. Like I said, tremolos like all over the place. Normally a little faster than what I'm doing. Faster chugs too, just like. That kind of sounds a little slammy, but there is slamming brutal death metal where they include slam type riffs into the brutal death metal riffs. So that's another thing on its own, and just like another further down the rabbit hole type of deal. Deathcore is just kind of, like I said, and so on. Anyways, that's been another Jesse Talks Metal episode, number 10, the differences between slam, brutal death metal, and deathcore. Thanks for watching. I'm Jesse Slammerella. Until next time, stay sick.